Hi guys and welcome to episode 25 of Beat to the Punch. I'm joined on the line tonight with just Riku, just me and you tonight, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Brendan's in Germany, Nathan's busy working, so it's the two of us.
Yeah, I mean, the Brendan put a wee picture in the chat the other day there, man, and it looked as if he was enjoying Amsterdam.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All the delights of Amsterdam.
Yeah, because it's just the two of us tonight, we'll kind of go at it a wee bit different. And we were both just talking before we started recording. Both of us have kind of took a wee step back for all the bullshit that follows boxing and just been concentrating on the fights. So tonight we'll just talk about the fights because none of the two is really know anything that's happening outside the ring.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be refreshing. This could be the way to go. Don't know. Because we usually find that we end up ranting when we start talking about the news and the WBC belts and the WBAs, and you usually find you end up getting over the same shit every week.
Yeah, exactly. No talk about franchise belts.
Yeah, I just don't think you can say the words in front of Brendan Galuli. Brendan, his rant on that was biblical. I've actually got that as
Yeah.
my alarm in the morning. Brendan. um, but let's start off with last weekend's action. It was a good card with BT. I quite enjoyed it. But we'll start off with the main event, and it was Nathan Gorman was fighting Triple D, Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, I think Dubois fought really well. A lot of people in the Twitter sphere were tipping Gorman to give him run for his money and even beat him. But I think, as I've said before, I think Dubois is an underrated boxer. He's a very good puncher, but he's an underrated boxer. And he showed his boxing pedigree. He's doing some really good tricks there. He could probably improve with his head movements and feints a bit, but he was working the body. He's varying his shots. He's still probably a bit too easy to hit, but I don't think a lot of people slated Gorman afterwards and said that Gorman isn't a very good fighter. He's overhyped, but I think it was one of those where Dubois is just such a good talent and such a good fighter that he actually made Gorman look not as good. If I put Gorman against, your Price Allen winner, I think, he'd probably be favourite in my books. But yeah, I think I was very impressed by Dubois, his punching power, and just generally just how he went about, finishing Gorman in that fight.
Yeah, well, Nathan, who's usually comes on the pod, Nathan, he doesn't rate Gorman. I've also seen on Twitter Billy Nelson for one of them saying we could tell that something wasn't right with Nathan Gorman, and I've seen that a few times. His kid wasn't well, and this kind of stuff. Do we find that we keep kind of going to this now in boxing? We've seen it with AJ when AJ get knocked out. Oh, there was
Yeah,
something not right. Is this just a new thing that's creeping in now, where there's always got to be an excuse and a backstory to either a poor performance or just being beaten by a better man?
I think people always look for that one reason why something went wrong when actually it's usually a combination of factors. And that's the thing that people just can't give credit to Dubois for being a very talented and good young fighter. They need to explain why Gorman wasn't performing as well as he did. But, they fought similar opposition. They sort of progressed at the same speed in their careers. So, it's not unfair to say that Dubois is just a better fighter at this stage. It doesn't mean that Gorman can't improve and come back, but yeah, Dubois is an exceptional talent.
Yeah, because we seen it after the first round. Nathan Gorman did not have a jab. Now I don't care what your problems are outside of the ring. A professional boxer doesn't go in the ring and forget the most basic tool in boxing. You don't forget how to jab. I don't think Gorman landed one jab all night. And
No.
on the flip side of that, Daniel Dubois' jab was superb. It was absolutely superb. We've heard Terry Trapandama, as I think that's how you say his second name. I've heard
Yeah.
Terry. Terry spoke about Daniel Dubois, talked about him when he was a kid, and he says that he's a fantastic boxer. And I think with a jab like that, the other things can come later. But when you've got a jab like that, that's a great foundation to build on top, isn't it?
Yeah, especially for heavyweights where you need to. I think jab is sort of your first line of defense for many heavyweights because they aren't as nimble as smaller fighters that they can feint and use foot movement and stuff. Because we like the heavyweights because they more or less stand in the middle of the ring and trade. So if you have a good jab, you can keep your opponent off, and also that's the way how to set up attacks. So he was doing good things like jabbing and then hitting to the body, or varying his jab as well. It was quite varied, so it wasn't just one type of jab. So I agree. I mean, a heavyweight with a jab, that's the basic foundation. Even when you look at someone like Lennox Lewis, Klitschko, a lot of these other, heavyweights of recent times.
Do you think that this victory answers a lot of questions about just how far Dubois going to go? Does this answer it? We kind of know he's a bit more than a hype job now.
Yeah, I think it does, but I wouldn't want to rush him too quickly because he's still a young guy, and I wouldn't want to see him fight for a world title in the next year or two. So I think what they'll do is they'll still match him slowly and let him learn in the gym and progress, and come to his own against man strength rather than just chucking him in with AJ or Andy Ruiz or any of these other guys because he still hasn't had that gut check in his career.
Yeah.
So I think what they want to do is match him carefully against guys that can give him different tests. And also, what we didn't see with Joshua, if we look back and think about his matchmaking, he's always, he struggled against Takam, but he struggled a bit against Ruiz, and he struggled against smaller guys. And that's partly because when he was coming up, he wasn't fighting against smaller guys that were competitive. So I think what they're going to look to do is, maybe bring in a Brian Jennings, a bit of a move and a smaller guy to fight against Dubois or someone like that can give him experience and give him different types of opposition to face.
Yeah, I mean, there has been massive improvements, I thought, in Daniel Dubois that I've noticed just on that Gorman fight. I mean, the way he closes off the ring. I mean, Gorman thinks himself a bit of a slickster, a bit of a mover,
Yeah,
and he just couldn't stay out of the reach at Daniel Dubois, and I thought it was quite Triple G esque. The
yeah,
way he cut the ring off, I thought it was brilliant. I hadn't seen Dubois be that aggressive before, be that taking the fight right to Gorman, and Gorman just couldn't answer it. And the fact that he didn't have a jab to at least paw him away, that was the stoppage was coming, and you could tell it was coming for about the second round.
yeah, exactly. I think I actually tweeted something the day after to say he looked like Triple G, and they have quite similar styles in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just to finish up on this, what were you impressed with most about Daniel Dubois? And secondly, what disappointed you most about Gorman? Where can he improve to come back in a year's time and say that he would want to take on Dubois again?
I think I was probably most impressed by Dubois in his ring generalship, just how he controlled and moved Gorman where he wanted him. How he paced the fights, and he was fighting his own fight. There wasn't really patches that you can think where Gorman imposed his fight on Dubois. And for a young guy like that to have that kind of ring generalship and boxing IQ, I think that was extremely impressive. Yeah, I think for Gorman, the main thing that he needs to improve is finding ways to get on the inside of bigger guys. He's got good hand speed, so he needs to learn to probably slip punches better and get on the inside and get on the chest and start throwing those punches. So it's really just my opinion what he needs to improve on mainly.
Yeah, I thought we did see a few glimpses for Gorman of what he can offer. There was a couple of times when he thrown like nice wee combinations, but they were just so few and far between that you couldn't get excited, and you knew the fight was getting away from him. And at the end of the day, I just think he was completely outclassed. But Daniel Dubois, although we've got that great jab and the way he cuts the ring off, I think there's still improvement there. He looks very vulnerable when he's going in for the kill. He drops his hands a bit like AJ. You know, he drops his hands. He looks as
Yeah,
if he's very easy to catch. And but again, that's something that maybe come when with composure and you know I thought he looked very composed there on night. He boxed well, but you know
yeah.
maybe he gets a wee bit too excited and maybe with a wee bit more experience, you know he'll keep calm in these situations. So also on that card, we also had Joe Joyce against Bryant Jennings. How did you think Joyce looked against an experienced Bryant Jennings?
I think, he's a bit of a plodder and he's not the greatest fighter to watch, but, he did a job. And I think the scores were closer than the card suggested. But yeah, I think he did what he had to do. But I've never been particularly impressed by Joyce. But I know he'll give anybody trouble just for his work rate. And actually, he has a good chin as well. So he took a few punches. So yeah, there isn't really much else to say about him.
Um, I just found out that he's now teamed up with Booth. Was it Adam Booth he's teamed up with
Yeah,
now?
he
Yeah,
has. Yeah,
yeah. And the only thing that I seen that Joe Joyce has seemed to have adopted that he didn't have before is this showboating. And
yeah. Which
it nearly cost him early doors when Jennings landed a great body shot. Um, what did you make of this showboating early doors? You know, he wasn't in any position to be showboating, and as I said, it ended up nearly costing him in the end.
I think Adam Booth is one of the most overrated trainers in Britain. Just because I don't. All of his fighters do this stupid showboating stuff, which I don't mind on occasion, but yeah, it nearly cost him. And Joyce is the wrong style for him because Joyce is one of those guys that comes forward, throws a lot of punches, pretty straightforward. Whereas Adam Boone fighters like to do, look slick with their hands down and do all that weird bouncing stuff. So yeah, it's not a match that I think will go particularly far.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to admit, I'm not the biggest Joe Joyce fan, but I mean, when he got hit with that body shot, he didn't disguise it well. You know, you see that way. I think against a better level operator, he could have been finished there because you know the way his hands dropped, he nearly actually folded in two in the ring. And I don't know if that's maybe a weakness that's going to be exploited as he steps up again. What do you think?
Yeah, so yeah, I agree. I think he's probably weak to the body, and other fighters will look to exploit that. It's never a good sign when a fighter looks vulnerable like that, and they don't disguise it very well. We know, for example, with Joshua, he does his smiling and shaking of his head thing, but those are all telltale signs, and I think it's very important that fighters don't show when they hurt.
Yeah, yeah, especially heavyweight. I think especially heavyweight where you've got guys. I mean, even the feather fisted guys. I mean, Brian Jennings isn't a renowned heavy hitter, but I mean, it was a beautiful body shot. And I seen a couple of other shots that were making that elbow drop, and I was just thinking to myself, if Jennings had any power, really, Joe Joyce he'd have been in deep trouble early doors, and I don't think he'd have seen out that fight against a better operator, a better level operator.
No,
But
and also, I don't think you can't impose that style on everybody. There's certain type fighters that, we'll talk about Dillian White later that don't deal well with fighters with a high work rate. But, someone like Joe Parker, that's quite a relentless fighter. I just don't think that would end too well for Joe Joyce.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I said, I'm not the biggest Joe Joyce fan, and I've actually only seen a bit of this fight. But as we were talking about before we started recording, once you've seen a first couple of rounds of a Joe Joyce fight, that's pretty much all you need to see because every round's pretty much the same. He'll come in, he'll throw 100 punches that will look really slow. He'll get caught a couple of times because he doesn't bring his hands back to his chin. And you know, and that's pretty much how it goes until he's actually stepped up to a level where guys maybe only need to catch him once. I don't think I'm that interested in Joe Joyce's career.
No, I'm not either. I mean, his style doesn't excite me, and they obviously matching him quick, and they want him to get to world title shot relatively quick. But yeah, his style is just very, very boring and plodding.
Well, here's one just to finish up on it. Will Joe Joyce win a world title?
No, I don't think. I think he's sort of in the wrong era. So you've got Joshua, Wilder, Andy Ruiz, Tyson Fury, Dillian White, who are sort of the older guard, and then you've got your Usyk, Hrgovic, Dubois, the other guys coming through that are sort of the younger guard. And I don't think he beats either of those top crops in the next few years. And he's 33.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I don't think that he's anywhere near a finished article now. You know, he makes his fundamentals are a lot worse than Daniel Dubois and Dubois is 21. You know,
Exactly.
he doesn't judge distance well for a big guy. You know, he kind of falls his punches in, and before he knows it, he's stuck on the inside, and he smothers himself. He smothers a lot of his work. He doesn't get all the purchase on that he probably should. You know, and he ends up like, you know, he's not getting great leverage on his shots. I also think that he is far too easy to hit, and he telegraphs a hell of a lot of his shots. You know, I think somebody with a wee bit quicker footwork, you know, they would time him coming in. There's just so much there that you go like, nah, you know, maybe Joe Joyce's level will be to be a gatekeeper for the top boys.
Yeah, I think he'll get a world title shot or two at some point, but then, after that, after losing probably those, where does he go after that? And he'll probably be a gatekeeper. I think he'll be another Chisora type guy.
Yeah, yeah, I do think that as well, you know. But I mean, Chisora always had that, you know, he was a bit of a tough cookie, so, you know, no matter what, you always seen Chisora either taking a pasting or, you know,
Yeah,
you know, or you, if not, if his fight was a stinker, at least the press tour was usually worth it with Chisora, you know, he's a bit of a loose cannon.
yeah, the tripod's always flying around.
Yeah, seeing the herons ducking for cover and that, you know, can't beat
Yeah.
that. Um, is there anything else for that card you want to see? Because I was out last week, so I've been catching up on it either on YouTube and that, and I've seen Alfie Sharp. Alfie Sharp was fighting. Who was the Scottish lad he was fighting? Can't remember the other boy's name.
McClary.
Oh, that's just racist, man. You just say a Scottish guy and you fire in Mick. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think that was his name, to be honest.
I turned out quite a good wee fight. I watched that. I mean, Alfie Sharp looks a bit of a nightmare to what to fight. But again, he's one of these guys who does that showboating on the outside, and I fucking can't. I can't. I'm not a fan of that. You know, I criticised Josh Kelly and he was doing it. You know, even I watched Sugar Ray Leonard the other night there, and he does it. He used to do it as well. Do it when you're out of range. I don't. Why are you showboating when you're out of range? Do it when the guy can hit you. That's when I'll be impressed. You know.
Yeah, exactly. No, Archie Sharp is a funny one because I just don't think he hits hard enough to really make a difference. And he's got that really awkward style, and he's huge for the weight. I mean, he's very
massive.
tall.
He's massive. How he makes that weight, I don't know.
Exactly. But then, if you think about who else, even in the UK level, is, there you've got Sam Bowen, who's an excellent fighter. You've got, Liam Walsh, you've got Zelfa Barrett. So you've got quite a few guys there that they can, match within that stable or just around that stable. So it will be good to see how he does against. I imagine that he'll probably fight against Sam Bowen at some stage for the British title. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an interesting one to keep your eye out for because, as we said, he's very awkward, he's very lanky, he's very tall, but he's also hittable. So he could be entertaining. You know, he's not as slick as he thinks he is, if you know what I mean. He kind of leaves himself open maybe once too often, you know. So it's that way. He's always worth watching. I'll watch it for the lad again, put it that way.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. But is there anything else for last weekend BT card that you want to talk about? Or do you even want to venture into Saudi Arabian territory and speak about Amir Khan? Because you will need to do all the talking because I've not seen it.
Well, number one on the BT things, these Frank Warren cards just run too long. I fell asleep and then I woke right back. I mean, nobody can stay up until midnight watching these fights. What they like 6, 7 hour cards. These Frank Warren, we know Frank Warren cards. I feel sorry for all the fans that go there and have to try and get their way home afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's something that's been a criticism of Warren for years.
Exactly,
You know, maybe less is more sometimes, you know?
exactly. Saudi Arabia. I saw the Khan fight. It was a knockover job. He was there to make Khan look good and hope that he can get the Pacquiao fight there in the future. I actually had a couple of people I know that were actually out there watching that fight, and they were saying the production was hilarious because you had like local dancers there, Indian dancers. Some of the guys were basically coming to the ring with like hijabs on their head. You had ring card girls fully dressed. It was quite different to anything they've ever seen before.
Yeah,
But
I was out somewhere and I can't even remember where I was on Saturday, but and on Friday. But when that was on, I was just flitting on Twitter and people were saying, "Oh my God, there's Baby Shark even on there," you know.
yeah,
What the fuck? What the fuck are they watching? It turned out to be, a boxing show.
yeah. I mean, a boxing show without alcohol as well is always weird. The atmosphere. So everybody's sitting stone cold sober in the crowd.
What about the UK's favourite boxer, Prince Patel? How did he get beat?
He did get beat. I
Yeah.
think he thought he won, although he got schooled for the IBO world title. Um, and then he was celebrating. I think a lot of people saw that clip on YouTube where he was sort of celebrating, waiting for his hand to be lifted, then disappointment when they announced the opposition's name. Um, but that's what you get when you're fighting in gyms in Latvia with two spectators. Did you see that video of him
Yeah,
fighting in
yeah,
a gym in
it
Latvia?
was in like a school gymnasium or something like that. Yeah, it was fucking pathetic.
And what was
And
the
the
opponent
guy, yeah,
about?
the guy he was fighting. I mean that's fucking. I mean, I would have went in there and given him a better fight. You know, I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
Even big, what's his face for IFL?
Coogan,
Hi, Big Coogan would have given him a better fight than that guy. You know.
catch weight.
Yeah, but let's move on. Let's get back to real boxing now. We've got a good weekend of boxing this weekend. So it depends. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start in the UK or do you want to start in the US?
Let's start in UK.
The
Let's
UK.
start it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got Dillian White taking on Rivas this weekend. This is a must win for Dillian White, as it always is, but he's got to keep putting the pressure on the big boys. And, I even seen Teddy Atlas the other day there, shouting and bawling for him the way Teddy Atlas does, to try to get him a world title shot. And the only way Dillian White can keep knocking at the door and not to be ignored forever is to just keep winning and keep impressing.
Yeah. I think they have selected Rivas because he's smaller. He's a bit crude. He's got a good overhand, right? So that's his favorite shot. So he's there for the left hook from Dillian White. I think this is going to be a lot tougher fight than people think because Rivas is quite relentless. And, even the two Chisora fights, White was struggling in those fights. So I do think, it's going to be a competitive fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was an upset. I'll go on the limb and say I wouldn't be surprised if there was an upset. I'd probably still back White to win if it goes on points, but I wouldn't be surprised if White got stopped by Rivas. He's an unknown quantity.
Yeah, I think that there is that aspect, and I also think that Dillian White, he is a one-trick pony. He's always just looking to land that big left hook all the time. He's just. I think if you can survive the first half of your fight, I think the second half of your fight is much easier against Dillian. If you can just survive, I think like Parker, who was having an awful night.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like 30 seconds away from knocking Dillian White out. I just think that Dillian's, especially if you're a bit of a tough guy, there's always a chance for you in there because he gasses out a wee bit. And once you've seen it coming once, twice, you know what punch is coming. He's always looking for it. He doesn't try to disguise it. He doesn't look to maybe set you up with a feint. It's just, let's stand here and let's just throw punches, and I'm going to try and loop one right over the top. And it just, I just think it's the same old with Dillian White.
Yeah, and there is, in boxing, there's a littered history of people waiting for the fight and overlooking their opponent and, thinking about the next move. And, he could be susceptible to that. And Rivas is a good amateur. He beat Pulev in the amateurs. He beat Andy Ruiz Jr. comprehensively in the amateurs. I think he's beaten a few other guys as well. So he's no mug in terms of schooling, and Dillian's still learning on the trade. So I think it's going to be a competitive fight, unless they know something we don't, that Rivas is, a knockover job.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen Rivas once, I have to admit. But as you said, he is a bit relentless, and he will apply the pressure. It's just really keeping away for that left-hander White. As we spoke about, Dillian has been mouthing off about Wilder and Fury now for the last few weeks and not really talking about Rivas. That's one thing I've noticed. He doesn't really say a lot about his opponent that's upcoming. Do you think that he is in danger of looking past this guy and maybe just looking at what's on the horizon rather than what's right in front of him?
I think so. I think it's just, this is for the WBC interim title, and so, it's just another step, but that doesn't mean anything. So I do think he is in danger of looking past Rivas. And, Rivas is coming to win. This is his chance to change his fortunes. And also, Rivas is a guy that they know is an easier fight to make for, whether it be Andy Ruiz Jr., if he wins the rematch, or, if Joshua wins the rematch against Ruiz, Rivas is there, big payday. Same goes for Deontay Wilder if he beats Luis Ortiz and the Fury fight doesn't happen for some reason. Or even Tyson Fury against Rivas. He's at main event, so he's one of those guys that you can actually make a fight against.
Yeah, he's one of these guys who can jump from station to station. Do you know what? He's probably
exactly
in a very privileged position just now. These freelance kind of guys, they're in a great position now because they're not tied to any of the platforms. So if he comes here and gets a win, he could be on PBC or on, ESPN in his next fight, and cashing in a big win. So as you say, he will be coming to win. This could be career changing for him. But one thing I have seen on Twitter, and I don't know how true this is, but apparently ticket sales are not very good for this. Are you feeling much hype down in London for this fight coming up?
Well, they did a good job at the public workout. It was by Tower Bridge, really well attended. I just think it's a very tough time to sell tickets because, people are off on holiday. People are about to go on holiday, so they don't want to spend a few £100 on boxing. The other challenge is when you have a lot of these Dillian White, Dean White managed guys on a card, they actually sell to the similar crowd. So you're not diversifying your offering in terms of who you're trying to get on the card. And having someone like Rivas there against Dillian White, what the casual fans would have never heard of him, so they don't really care. And the ticket prices are very high. The ticket prices are extremely high compared to, let's say, last weekend's event. So I think they priced the tickets wrong. That's another thing.
Yeah, well, I didn't actually know this. How much are you talking for a ticket?
I think if you want anything decent, you're talking about £150 or something like that.
Fuck's sake, that's a fucking hell of a lot of money for Dillian White, who's like the lead titles here, and fucking hell, that's a lot of money, man.
Well, it's Eddie's first UK pay-per-view, isn't it? But this year. But I don't think Sky has, in my opinion, Sky hasn't put as much behind this fight as they would for Joshua fight. So you don't see as many adverts. You don't see the build-up hasn't been the same, or the hype. And it might be because, White effectively is what Matchroom on a fight-by-fight basis. So do they really want to invest that much money and backing to a guy that might not be there for the next fight?
Do you think that, just to protect their deal, with Sky Sports are providing so many pay-per-views, do you think that maybe Rivas, they've got him on an option? Because if Dillian White loses, there's pretty much no pay-per-view fighter left in UK Matchroom.
I think to my understanding, standard contracts would have, you often have options on fighters. So someone like that, if they want, Rivas can get another fight with someone from the Matchroom heavyweight stable. So that happened, for example, with Takam. He fought on a few Matchroom cards after performing well against Joshua. Same happened with Povetkin. You know, it's quite a standard procedure to put fighters on options if they perform well, and you know they might. Another way of sort of breaking down deals in boxing is that you might say to Rivas, you get £1 million for fighting White, but then subsequently you'll have two £500,000 fights afterwards with us, and then that way you get the purse up.
Yeah. I mean, this is quite a good card. So I was quite surprised to see the tickets weren't selling, but I didn't know the prices were actually so steep. So that kind of going to play a massive factor. But I mean, also on this card. Oh, sorry, what we got to say there?
No, I was just about to say. Might have seen on Twitter, Martin from New Age Boxing posted on StubHub they were selling. I think it was an £800 ticket. So the value was £800. So it was somewhere like ringside or somewhere like that. And you know, on StubHub now you have to declare who's selling the ticket. And interestingly enough, it was priced at £920, and the seller was Matchroom Boxing. So you know the old age-old StubHub Matchroom connection stuff. Yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah, well, it's one of the ones that everybody knows what they've been doing for years.
Yeah.
And you know do you know why everybody knows that they're doing it? Because none of the media outlets, when they're interviewing Eddie or interviewing his dad, nobody ever brings it up. You know what I mean? Nobody ever brings up. So see if there was nothing to hide, I mean, they would be on there, they would be denying it. They don't, so you know that's a touchy subject, and if you want to keep access to the Hearns and the Matchroom stable, then you don't ask them questions like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, also on this card, we've got David Price against David Allen. You know, for two guys that maybe no bring a lot, they're not everybody's cup of tea. They might not bring a lot to the ring, like tactically, you know, or technically even. But it's a great match fight. I think that's one I'll be really looking forward to. As a matter of fact, you know, I would have went to this card. I think I would have went to this card if I stayed local. Well,
I think it's sort of a classic matchup where you know what both fighters need to do to win. So you have David Price needs to knock out Allen early, otherwise he's going to get tired, and Allen needs to weather the storm early and then knock out Price when he's tired. So I think it's a good fight from that perspective. Also, you know, Dave Allen's looking in great shape. You sort of want the journey to continue. So I think most people, myself included, are rooting for Dave Allen. You want to see actually where he can go to next. So yeah, I think it's a good matchup for the TV, and it's a good matchup from a sort of broader interest point of view.
Yeah. I mean, we know we're always going to hear this when David Price fights. You know, he only has to hit you once. You know, he's fucking one of the hardest punchers in boxing. But I was thinking about this fight today, and I think Dave Allen, as you said, if Dave Allen survives 4 rounds, I think you'll be able to put David Price over with a violent cough. Getting into the second half of the fight, because we all know Big Price, he's not got a set of lungs on him. You know, he just can't breathe after he has to work. And you know, if Dave Allen can take a punch, I just think Dave Allen will take what he's got. I don't think he's as hard a puncher as what he maybe once was. You know, because I've heard all these old professionals all saying that, you know, David Price is very powerful man, but you know, we've seen him go in and struggle to get rid of tomato cans, you know what I mean? So I don't know if he maybe still carries that power, I don't know. But I can see Allen getting a stoppage here.
I think Sam O'Reilly from Fight Talk podcast made a very good point that when is the last time David Allen actually knocked anybody out? I
Yeah.
think it was someone like Matt Skelton, and this is 7 years ago or something ridiculous. Like we haven't actually seen this mythical power of David Price in 7 years, and even then it was sort of British level at best.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's just something. It's that fucking thing, you know. As soon as he's fighting, that just automatically rolls off, and it's now became the running joke. You know,
Yeah,
anytime a prize fight comes up, you go, how long will it be before you hear that on Sky Sports, or you have Tony Bellew on Sky Sports News going like, oh, he's fucking one of the hardest hitters about, you know. God, fuck off, man. I'm fucking sick of hearing this, man. You know.
yeah, just leave Tone alone, Bellew. So don't mention his name. He doesn't want to be the public eye anymore. He just wants to be Anthony now.
Yeah, yeah, that's it, man. But also in that card, there's Chris Billum-Smith is
Yeah,
fighting. Is it Rakpur?
Richard Riakpo,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Both of them 9-0, fighting for I think it's a WBA Intercontinental. I mean, I've seen Chris Billum. I've met Chris Billum a couple of times, and I've seen him sparring. That, you know, I'm really impressed with him. I like Chris. I like his style. You know, he's quite George Groves esque. His stance and that, and I don't know if he's still with Shane McGuigan,
I
but
think he is, yeah, he is.
yeah, but I mean, I know that Shane rates the boy very highly, and you know, coming up for a good amateur pedigree. And as I said, but Richard Rapport is, you know, another guy who's maybe building a name for himself as well. This is a good fight. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, I think it's a great fight. I mean, in terms of matching two young prospects, at British level to see who could go on. In many ways, it's quite similar to Dubois against Gorman. Obviously, it's all heavyweights, but yeah, I think it's a good fight. I'll probably favour Chris Billum-Smith. Riakpor's quite late to boxing. He has a lot of power, but against I think it's Sam Hyde who he fought. He didn't look great, but he relied on his power, and I think Billum-Smith is the better boxer, and also he can rely on more than just his power, which I think is a lot underrated because Billum-Smith does hit hard. It's just the case that, he goes about his work in a different way, whereas Riakporhe has a lot of highlight reel knockouts.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean the Chris Billum-Smith. When I was talking away to him, you know, he's come up through boxing. You know, he's been grew up through schoolboys through boxing. And he's supposed to have been a really good amateur. You know, English
Yeah,
champion and that. You know, so no doubt he's just trying to adapt that style into the pro game. But when I was watching him, he was sparring Stephen Simmons, who was a very physical cruiserweight. You know, he likes to bully guys in the ring. And Chris Billum-Smith coming up as such a young man didn't half hold his own in there, and and as I said, he's got that George Groves kind of jab, this stiff jab. You know, it's beautiful to watch. He's got a style that I really tend to lean towards. I like watching guys that fight like him.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
And the other interesting fight on the card for me is Dan Aziz against Charlie Duffield. So I've seen Dan Aziz fight on the MTK show before. I've met him before as well. He's a nice guy, very hard hitter, good boxer. Um, Charlie Duffield's quite highly rated. He trains on mark terms, part of the Dillian White clan. So yeah, another great matchup between young prospects. So it's nice to see Chris Billum-Smith, who's a Cyclone fighter on the card. You have Dan Aziz, who's an MTK fighter on the card. So two really good crossroad fights there.
yeah. And I was just thinking that I was just wondering, is Cyclone just stopped doing boxing shows while Josh Taylor's busy with the World Boxing Super Series?
Probably, yeah. And also, we don't really know what's going on behind the scene with the court case between Brampton and, Cyclone Promotion. So whether that has any impact, that might be the case.
Aye, do you know what? Fuck Barry McGuigan anyway, he's a prick.
Yeah.
But I mean, talking about this card, it's a great card. I like it. good card, as I said. I'd have went to see it if I was local, but that £150 for a ticket,
Yeah,
that
decent
really,
one.
that leaves a sore taste in your mouth, you know what I mean? But obviously, I won't be paying pay-per-view and I won't be attending, so what the fuck am I moaning about? But
Yeah.
let's move on to the. Well, we've got a great card. We've got a great fight on over in the US. We have the legend Manny Pacquiao taking on Keith Thurman. Let's just hope this fight's better than Keith Thurman's attempts at trash talk.
Yeah.
Fuck me, that's painful to listen to, man.
I mean, he probably was smoking too much pot in the Himalayan mountains or something like that. That's why he
Oh,
didn't come. That's why he didn't fight well last time.
oh man, I've no fucking like face palmed so many times watching a video in all my life. I was like, oh, I'm never watching anything with Keith Thurman in it again unless it's actually a fight. I'm never watching him speaking again. He's so embarrassing. But I mean, I like this fight. I thought Manny looked alright his last fight out. I wasn't too impressed with Thurman. I thought Thurman looked easy to hit his last fight. So I'm happy with this fight. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's a great fight. So PBC have done a good job in matching those two, and then also matching, well, when they do match eventually, Porter against Spence Jr. So I think the winners will face each other. So it's a bit of a the first kind of matchup of a mini welterweight tournament. It's sort of with Pacquiao, we don't really know how good he's still because beating up, Adrian Broner is one thing versus Thurman. But then again, Thurman's in the comeback trail, so he didn't fight for nearly 2 years. This is going to be his second fight in a year. So it will be interesting to see, how good Thurman actually is and, what's left of Pacquiao. Obviously, there's no drug testing in this whole contest, so that might help Pacquiao a bit.
Yeah, man, he's going to be fucking jacked up to the eyeballs.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre, innit, though? I mean, I know that every podcast we end up getting off in one of these, but it's fucking, it's just crazy that in today's world, that this hasn't got any the VADA 24/7 testing. Like, why is that just no? Because
Well,
it's a professional
PBC
sport.
fighters don't do it. PBC fighters never get tested. PBC fighters notoriously. Was it which Charlo was it that missed two tests? PBC fighters are notorious for this.
Oh man, it's just ridiculous, and I always think that it's one of the things. If you're no testing, then it's like, see, if I go into my work and I get a drug test and I refuse to take the test, if I don't take the test, it just gets put down as a failed drug test, as if I've been taking drugs. That's what we should be doing with these cunts. It's fucking, as soon as if there's no drug testing in that fight, then both of them are cheating. That's how I look at it. And
Exactly.
we need to stop giving guys the benefit of the doubt. But we're going away off in one of our usual tangents, one of our age-old drug cheats tangents. But I mean, as you were saying about Pac-Man, it's hard to judge just how good he still is. But where would this make Manny rank in the all-time greats if he was to pull this off against? I mean, Keith Thurman is a top-class fighter.
Yeah, I think this fight you need to look at what the circumstances are. So, Keith Thurman has been out of the ring for 2 years. His fourth one tune-up fight is coming back. So I think the reason why Team Pacquiao accepted this fight is because they're confident they can win, and then they still have a shot against Mayweather if that ever happens. But I don't think, it's not the same as beating an Errol Spence Jr. or Crawford. You probably beaten the third best guy in the division. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's just this. I think they have got to give even Keith Thurman. He's got to take a bit of credit here because, I mean, I know you get criticism for fighting an old Manny Pacquiao, but if he beats Manny Pacquiao, he doesn't get any credit for this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great name for his CV. You've got Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Manny Pacquiao. It's not a bad CV for. I think whoever wins this fight will have the best resume out of all the welterweights by a country mile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I've been a Manny fan pretty much his full fucking career. I love the guy. He's superb. Uh, but I'm starting to find it a bit painful watching Manny now. You get emotionally attached to these guys when you watch them over
Yeah.
the years, and when is Manny going to be one of these guys that it's not going to be a nice story? It's not going to end well.
Yeah, I think they'd be quite good. This fight could be the tougher one, but if they fight Khan next in Saudi Arabia, he'll splatter Khan. Um, it's worth reading, everybody. Craig Scott from Boxing Social, your fellow countryman, he wrote a good interview this week, which he did with Manny Pacquiao, and he talks in that interview about, Pacquiao talks about what motivated him to continue doing boxing. So yeah, he had an interview with Manny Pacquiao. So good piece. So check it out on Boxing Social.
Yeah, man, I'm
Craig
actually
Scott's
gonna.
piece.
I'll go check that out when we get off of here because I will read and watch anything with Manny Pacquiao. I love the guy. He is a legend, but as I said, I'm just getting this horrible feeling, and then maybe that big payday in Saudi Arabia against Khan. Maybe that would be enough to see him to walk away. But then again, how long have we been saying this about Manny now?
Yeah, I think his funds ran out at one point, and that's why he signed. But this wasn't the US tax man after him, so
Yeah.
the funds ran out, and I think Al Heyman cut some sort of a deal with the tax guy, and that sort of that sort of sorted it out for him. So I think he's basically doing for the money at the moment.
So back to the fight itself. What is the keys to victory? Let's go first for Manny. How does he beat Keith Thurman?
I think through activity and taking away that jab of his. Thurman's got a good jab. I think Thurman's power is overrated at world level. But I think it's just through activity, so keeping busy, trading off the punches, winning the exchanges, catching the judges' eyes that way.
Yeah, just getting rounds in the bank. Because
Yeah,
I think that Keith Thurman, if he's got one flaw, he does just enough. He
exactly.
just enough, and then he'll sit back. And it's a fucking very risky way to fight. What about Keith Thurman? Where's his? How does he get to Manny? What is he going to do?
I think he needs to keep him off him with that jab, so not allow him to do his work and sort of smother his work a bit. And I think he needs to land some of those eye-catching right hands, which he has, the one-time shots as he could, keep one-time Thurman. So possibly it put Manny Pacquiao on his arse a few times.
Yeah, I mean, does that what Foreman has to do to get the credit in this fight? Does he have to go out and absolutely demolish Manny? Because
I
I mean,
think so. I think so because otherwise people say he's washed up. Manny Pacquiao is a washed-up guy, and he won a close points decision. Thurman did. So I think if he demolishes Pacquiao, that's a statement to put Errol Spence on notice and whoever else, and Danny Garcia possibly again or Sean Porter. But he doesn't really. He has to win because otherwise he has no other options to fight against anyone. Because I'm not sure how keen people are to see another Garcia matchup or another Porter matchup.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just finishing up here. Do you think that Keith Thurman? I mean, this fight could reek of Keith Thurman just looking for the fights that's going to pay him the most money. Not, and I know that sounds daft because every fighter's looking for that, but I'm getting a kind of whiff for this fight that Keith Thurman's maybe just, if there's a lot of money on the table, he'll take it, and he's looking to build up so he can get out of boxing. He seems to me be quite a smart kind of guy.
Yeah,
And I don't know if his heart's still in boxing. I mean, we'll put it this way:
I
fuck off for
agree.
2 years in Nepal, and that. I mean, that doesn't say I want to be a fighter for the rest of my life. That says the total opposite.
Exactly. Um, yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's the aim for Thurman. Maybe beat Pacquiao, then fight against Spence in a big unification fight, and then that's probably it for him.
Yeah, we're actually in a situation here where we could see Keith Thurman walking away from boxing before Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, I mean, Pacquiao's set to make like $20 million apparently on this fight. So it's crazy, isn't it? The money
Yeah.
that's going around in boxing.
It's mental that somebody like Manny, still in this day, at this age, this version, can still still pull in cash like this, Fucking, it just shows you what the kind of power that him and Floyd had in the sport, the money that they could generate.
Yeah, it's classic network wars, isn't it? I think in the US, Fox have been pushing this fight heavily and tried to gain, good pay-per-view numbers. So it's a pay-per-view in the US and then pay-per-view obviously over here, which I think is bizarre having that as a pay-per-view here.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit bizarre, but I mean, I've got my friends at Satplex that will hook me up. So if anybody's looking not to pay for it, go see them on Twitter. Uh, that was my wee plug for them there. But unless you've got anything else you want to talk about, Riku, I'm happy to end the show there.
Let me think. I haven't been following boxing news recently too much. Um, no, not really. I think that's probably it. What
Yeah,
else can we
man.
really cover?
Next week we could probably go a bit deeper because we'll have the hipsters like I think Nathan's coming on next week and
Yeah.
our very own version of Snoop Dogg will be back, Brendan Galooly.
Actually, it's worth saying that the Murata against Rob Brown fight that was good in Japan last weekend, where Murata regained his title from bronze. That's everybody worth watching. Um, yeah, and that fight did crazy numbers in Japan. I think 11 million households watched that fight.
Fucking hell, I know that boxing is massive in Japan and the events look superb. I watched a couple of Inoue fights on YouTube and
Yeah.
you never hear, we get stuck in a wee bubble here thinking of London and or Vegas and that, but when you see the atmosphere the Japanese fights generate, it looks fantastic, looks great to go. Um, but was that the fight that in the first fight was a bit controversial and the rematch got ordered?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that, man. Do you know what? I didn't even know that was on last week, so I will actually go and check that out when we got off here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they set to fight a third time um, to kind of square it up. So there was a rematch clause apparently.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll go check that out, mate. I'll go have a look at that now. But Riku, once again, thanks for coming on. I know the robots have been against us again tonight and fucked us fuck up, and it's went on a bit longer than we've had to. But thanks very much for giving up your time and coming on again, mate. And it's been great
Pleasure.
catching up with you again.
Actually, I have one more question for you. Can you confirm or anybody has Yard against Kovalev been confirmed yet?
Well, I seen that somebody on Twitter says that it was confirmed, and then when I went searching, I typed in Frank Warren confirms, Yard Kovalev, and I can't actually find Frank Warren saying it anywhere. So I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say no, and I'm still confident that that fight doesn't happen, or at least not yet.
Yeah, yeah, it's a weird one because Frank Warren said last week that there'd be a press conference about that fight on Monday, and nothing's happened. Nobody's actually come out to say that they've confirmed it. So I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, actually seen somebody tweeting out like a fucking venue. It was happening in Russia, and fucking all this stuff. And then I'm like, where are people getting this information from? Because I couldn't find anything on the internet. So
I know
I
that.
don't. I just took it because I was on my wee hiatus for boxing news. I just took it that I'd completely missed it. But when I actually went searching for it, no, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, it's probably the longest build up to the fight ever. It's been going on for months that people think this fight is going on in Russia. Nobody knows anything. Tunde Jai has done 200 IFL videos about it.
Yeah,
I've heard lions in the camp more time than I've heard anything in the last 6 months. So who knows?
that Frank's going to start doing an Eddie Hearn, and we're going to get an announcement about an announcement about an announcement, and then we'll have a press conference about them going to set up another press conference, and then we will finally find out that Yard is fighting another Latvian at the end of all
Yeah,
that.
but it's similar to the Golden Boy announcement this week that Canelo won't be fighting in September. I mean,
Yeah.
why don't you just say? Why don't you just not to announce the fight. And if somebody else says, "Oh, we're looking at other options," rather than putting out an announcement, it's not like people are booking tickets to Vegas to go and see Canelo in the hope that that he'll be fighting then.
Yeah, I found that quite weird and all. When I've seen that, it's like announced breaking news: Canelo won't fight. I says, so it's pretty much just the exact same as the day. You know what I mean? Is
Exactly.
tomorrow we're going to get another like, breaking news? He's still no fighting. You know, it's
Yeah.
fucking bizarre. But that I suppose that's pretty much just all you need is Canelo's name and a headline and the hits that you do. I mean, I know this for running my own website that when you write a story about Anthony Joshua, if you're writing an opinion piece about Anthony Joshua, the numbers that you do are unbelievable. Just because
I
Anthony
know.
Joshua's name is in it, and it's fucking, you go like, and that's obviously what these media outlets, that's what they go for. They make the money for advertising and getting more people in. So, fucking, as breaking news that Canelo isn't fighting, it's just so that you fucking
Yeah.
click into the breaking news about Canelo. You know,
I mean, if we did a podcast just talking about Anthony Joshua every week, we'd probably have, you know, 10 times the listeners we have now. But at the end of the day, there's a few YouTube channels like Hackman and Sporty Icons. The only thing they talk about is Joshua, and the views are incredible. You think, what kind of person can listen to chat about Joshua on a daily basis? I mean, it's weird. There's so much going on in boxing.
well, I'm just hoping. Like, I pray for the day that my phone goes and it's Max for EastEnders looking to get back into the podcast game and just wanting a wee slot on here. I would love that, man. I'd be like, fucking just talk to him because he's a mad shagger in EastEnders. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What happened to that him and was it Spence Sullivan podcast?
I don't know. Sure, they were selling tickets. They were doing a tour. They were going to go and do
Yeah, they
a
were going to
live
go to a
tour.
tour, and then it all got cancelled, and now the podcast is. Well, I haven't heard much about it.
I think he actually got offered to be in a pantomime. So that came first.
God,
But
strange world we live in. All right,